You want to know what I know about wealthy people who wealthy right? Listen up. As someone who has grown up around wealthy people for the majority of my life, because I have lived in suburban areas, not because my parents were wealthy, but because my mom was always thinking 10 steps ahead, I was able to be around the wealthiest people in my city and essentially state. And I learned so much just from these experiences. So, rich people who rich right know that location is everything. It doesn't matter if you have the biggest the biggest house on the block, if you're in a crappy neighborhood. Being in a bad neighborhood not only puts you in danger, puts you in a mind frame of like survival, but it also tells a lot about your money and how far it goes, and who you are and what your family's about and all of those things. So a lot of wealthy people will buy maybe the small home, but they'll buy the small home in a prominent neighborhood because location is everything. And that is something that I learned when I was in real estate as well. It was location, 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 location. People obsessed about the location because being in a good location meant that you had better grocery stores, meant that you had better education, meant that your neighborhood was clean, streets are clean, manicured lawns, just everything. The air quality's better. I can go on. So, location is key, and that is something that wealthy people know. Next thing, wealthy people who wealthy right know that material things are not that important unless you're looking at them as assets. When they buy material things, they are looking at the longevity of those things. They're looking at if they can get return on their investment. So if they buy the Chanel, then is that Chanel going to be worth more in the long run? Most likely yes, because Chanel always is timeless and you can always get your money and then some back. They're not going to go for the cheap designer items unless they don't really care, unless the designer items don't have the big logos on them. You can't really tell it's designer, it's inconspicuous. Then they'll buy it. Other than that, you'll never really see them buying typical designer items. A lot of the things that they have are items that you would never even think are expensive. They'll have jewelry that you'll never really think is expensive. You really won't know the name of it, you won't know how to pronounce it. It'll be just things that like aren't on the market, no one has ever seen. All of the things that go kind of trendy are things that they stay far away from. I notice they like things that can't really be duplicated. So there's that. And the last thing that I will say about rich people who rich right, just from being around them and all of that, they are huge on experiences. You give them an experience, they are going to spend the money. They do not care. The sky is the limit. When I tell you, I would go to school with some of these kids who their parents would take them to St. Bart's on summer vacations, winter vacations, spring vacations. They would be going to Japan. They would be going to all of these different places. Their parents would invest the money because they know in the long run being able to talk about where you've been is more, shows more about your status than whatever you're wearing, whatever you're driving. That's just hands down a key. And that's also how I know when certain people are wealthy and when they're not. When people talk about the things that they have instead of the things that they've done. And wealthy people invest in the things that they want to do, not the things that they want to have. You will see them investing a lot in experiences, in lessons for things. Their kids will be doing ballet, their kids will be doing gymnastics, their kids will be doing horseback riding, their kids will be doing ice skating, like the nine. They will have a list of things that they will invest in, that they will do, because it makes you not only well rounded, but it makes you a upper echelon type of person, because not everyone can afford to do 50 million lessons and then some just for fun.